For joining me here at the American News Network, major news network on Roku. I think we have a Trojan horse that's just been released in the United States by Jackwagon Joe. I've got extensive proof on it. Supposedly that our CIA had all the extensive architecture proof it's starting October the 7th. Now, if we have been also providing the exact details on whereas to kill Hamas, I'm just going to call it out. I think we started this whole shebang, and I think Jackwagon Joe and Benjamin Netanyahu are in cahoots because they're going to be out of office and their old age is catching up with them, but we are merely the pawns in what's going to be the end and the beginning of World War III. Now, we have this Yemeni thing that just happened to us. I'm going to show you at the U.S. website how we're letting in 300,000, 250,000 Yemenis into the United States every year since Obama. We just blew them up, but yet if you go to the United States Department website, you find out that there's an open door for them to still migrate to our country until September 3rd of this year. Now, do you think that's a wise idea to be letting people into our country as we're blowing them up? Now, if you look at Yemen and what they're saying to the United States, they're going out by the entire countrywide and they are screaming, "Death to America, death to the United Kingdom and to Israel." And you can't use the Suez Canal without them. And I'll tell you, nobody else has said this. NATO is gone. So is the EU. And it was Islam that finished it. There, I said it. Now, why is no one else saying that? Well, because they're a bunch of jackwagons and they're purchased by George Soros or Alex Soros or perhaps even working for Vladdy P. Who knows? But it's damn well not for you and me. We're intense. And if you think we're going to take on these other countries while our nation's stealing our money and just giving it everywhere, think again. Okay, it's been exposed today that Trudeau and his little thing with cokehead Zelensky, they're both cokeheads. Okay, guess what? I mean, tell you what happened? $409 million have been missing. Then Zelensky today basically kills an American journalist who calls him out at being a cokehead. Now, we call Jamal Suzuki a journalist just because he wrote 3 papers against the king of Saudi Arabia. He wasn't a journalist, and we sacrificed our relationship with Saudi Arabia over that phony calling that guy a journalist when he wasn't. Salty Cracker actually busted another story here today for the Salty Army. I'm going to let you hear it. Now, this guy was calling out. Here's a real American journalist.
And you should be aware of it. You see, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, well, the cokehead of Kiev, because he is a cokehead, the cokehead of Kiev is actually a manufactured political figure. He was manufactured by a Ukrainian Israeli Cypriot oligarch called Igor Kolomoisky.
Well, there you go. That's the good guys over there. Slava Ukraine. Let's send them billions and billions and billions, hundreds of billions of more dollars.
Now, the thing that you don't know is that he was trying to get out of there by exposing the truth, and Zelensky kills the guy today. So we'll talk about Jamal Khashoggi, but we'll not talk about the fact that they're actually killing real American journalists. Now, I'll also add into the fact that we've had over 29,000 people murdered. I'm just going to call it murdered in Palestine, and 70 world journalists, 71 world journalists. Again, we made such a big stink about Jamal Khashoggi because he talked stuff about the king of the country he came from. But so far, we've got 71 journalists that are dead in Palestine and video proof on how they just even shot a grandma in Palestine walking on one of the safe roads yesterday with her grandchildren. Bernie Sanders also exposed how all of the war weaponry is coming from the United States. So I love it how we tactically put, the UK and the United States when we're 99% of the enchilada. Let's get real. Okay, now this is something interesting, and I'm playing it back here, and this is the CIA task force. Now this story came out, I'm going to spin it differently. The U.S. intelligence agency, CIA, significant role in Gaza war operations has been revealed by the New York Times. And the CIA is focused on helping Israel locate top leaders of Hamas and Gaza. And the report said that the United States and the NSA Jake Sullivan ordered formations of task forces in the wake of Hamas's October killings. Okay. However, we've been supplying the data to kill all the Hamas leaders because we know where they're at. How do we know where they're at? What was our real relationship, and did we start this war? Because I'm only going to say this because war is money, and this is a property grab. And it's not being led by Lloyd Austin. He's been taken out since December 22nd. Perhaps he did that as a self-protective mechanism so that you would know that all these hellacious assault orders have not been ordered by him. In fact, since January the 2nd, he had a tube out of his mouth and he was almost dying. The architect of destruction is full on out Biden. He's full on out calling the shots, him and Obama from a basement. And this is the proof of it right here. You got to hear how he's talking. And this is Commander-in-Chief action right here and how he's talking. Listen to what he says.
We will make sure that we continue this outrageous behavior along with our allies.
Due to the fact of process. Bombing the Houthis with the attacks will stop. Will you continue with the strikes, sir?
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis as they continue this outrageous behavior along with our allies.
Due to the fact of process.
No. Iran does not want a war with us.
Are you looking for the terrorist group, sir?
I think they are.
What is strikes said last night, sir?
Yes. I don't think there's any civilian casualties. That's another reason why it's a success. Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
This is all a manufactured war created by fraud from the day in which these politicians stole our duly elected president through fraud. The proof is in our ballots. They can put in phony ballots. There's no way to do forensic accounting. The proof is in every flag across the country. I've gone from California to Florida to D.C., all up and down from stem to stern, and everybody hates Joe Biden. You can't find anybody that voted for him, maybe 2 out of 100, and the media will find those people and exploit them because we're trying to actually find people that were stupid enough to back this. I guess they're out there. I mean, there are the mentally ill and there are the homeless. And that's what they're trying to do. But, you know, they messed up with the Mexicans because of faith. Yeah. They messed up with most of the third world countries because most people from other countries believe in God. And definitely most people don't want you to attack our children. Now, in the state of Texas, we've got some good news going on. And finally, Governor Greg Abbott has grown a pair of kahunas from his wheelchair. And as of 2 days, we've taken our country back. Eagle Pass has been taken by the state of Texas, and we're using bullets, and we strongly advise everybody that's an illegal alien to go either to the border of New Mexico or California, especially California. There seems to be an open door there for you, courtesy of Nancy Pelosi's nephew. I'm talking about good old Gavin Newsom. So here we go. I'm so glad that Eagle Pass has been taken over. And Abbott is facing a backlash, but don't worry about that, sir. You're finally standing up for the people of Texas, and that's something that we can all get behind. The 5 shootings in your school, didn't want to listen to you anymore, so you better grow a pair of gonads and make them work for us. We've had enough. And as far as what you did to your attorney general down there, we all know that that was a complete scam. We all know it. He's the only person that was worth the darn, and he was trying to question the election. And we all know that the election was about as phony as they come. You can't get as more phony as that. So I commend everybody that's happened. Now, this was this morning, and these are people that are living in tents on our street. And Dan Cito filmed this morning. But the thing that I want you to see is, do you think that we're a country that can take on other countries when 10% of the people in our communities, no kidding, are living on our streets? I'm also going to say that back in my day when we had 2 kids that died from poison Tylenol. We started putting safety seals on everything, and we got to the bottom of that real fast. And today, 275 to 300 plus people die every day from phony pills pressed courtesy of China. But for some reason, their containers are open, right, for us to ship that stuff in. And I told you, $275 makes a kilo, which kills 500,000 Americans. That's the cheapest bomb China's got, friends. As far as the Trojan Horse, these are other figures that I want you to see, but I'm going to get the figures up as far as to what we're looking at with Yemen, okay, and as far as what the Houthis are doing. So as far as the immigration statistics that are going on, we just bombed a country, okay, and we're letting about 300,000 of these people come in a year. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to get the exact numbers here for you. So in 2015, we let 344,131 people from Yemen into the United States. In 2010, 285,837 people. 2005, 171,000. Okay, so you add up all these people, we got a cool million of these people here in this country. And we just bombed them last night 60 times. And the door is wide open for them to migrate here because they're on a because we feel sorry for them because they're being persecuted. Hello? No one's persecuting them worse than us. We're the ones bombing them. Do you really think it's wise that you continue to have an open door to a country that you're actively bombing? You really can't get more stupid than this, and I'm just telling you so that you can see this is really just some facts and figures here. I am at the website of the government. This is the United States government on citizenship and immigration services. This is active up right now, and there's temporary protective statuses that have been designated for the country of Yemen, and the TPS has been extended through September the 3rd. Now, they're protected because they've been getting harassed by other countries. Again, they are being harassed by nobody more than the United States of America. We just bombed them. Do you think it's wise that we're going to let another 300,000 plus people from there into our country? Go ahead. Comment below. I think this is a Trojan horse. Perhaps you don't know what a day in the life of someone in Yemen looks like. Well, this is what it looks like. They hang around with machine guns and they scream death to America. The door is wide open and we're taking 300,000 of these dudes in this year. And we just bombed them 60 times, okay? We also have soldiers that are MIA for the last day, 2 days actually. Haven't talked about it, but since it hits the UK airwaves and went, I can talk about it here since it's now public. We have soldiers that are missing in action. Now, whether these are my kids or your kids, we need to enact the 1973 War Powers Act. This is not General Lloyd Austin. This is just Jackwagon Joe I showed you. He is in full charge. His supposed affirmative action hired by Obama has got a tube sticking in and out of his mouth, and he's been incapacitated since December 22nd, okay? We're almost going into like 3/4 of a month where we've had nobody at the helm for military action at all, except for Joe Biden. We stopped, Nixon when he was doing this with Laos and Cambodia. We need to stop Joe Biden for doing the same type of thing. These airstrikes that are going on, we did it on the Sabbath day. And even the Muslims and the Jews, when they fight each other, they give each other the Sabbath day off. So we always talk about a ceasefire. They have a weekly ceasefire. And so while they were having their weekly ceasefire, we annihilated them. And a lot of people don't know that. And so just so you know, there's now a division in NATO between France, Spain, Italy, and Turkey, and they want us out of there, and so do I. And if you're in Congress, you better vote with me. You know, we've been hijacked by Jackwagon Joe, and we're looking at a world war, and it's all you guys because you invest your stocks in Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and war, And we're not about war constantly in America. You have to change your way of thinking. All you guys need to be fired. If you're in Congress, you shouldn't even be allowed to vote on those things or to invest. But there again, I mean, this is being spread everywhere, and that is we're bombing stuff. Our defense secretary is out, and what that smells to me is this guy's calling 100% all the shots. Okay? And how's that working for America? It's not. Okay? So when you see these people in New York that are protesting, there's a lot of people from Palestine, from Yemen, and I'm talking, we got millions of people here, and to me this smells like a Trojan horse. You can't go bombing the places and opening the door to the places that you're bombing. And third, we shouldn't be bombing these places anyway. And it's all just a distraction because we need to get this guy out of office. He shouldn't be there. He's going to give his son a presidential pardon. And we've never had corruption on this level. It's out of control, and Biden is in direct charge. Okay, he full on out, just massacred sites out there in Yemen, and we're blowing up the entire country as I speak. 60 targets were hit, over 100 ones were attacked. This is our second day to go after stuff like this. You know, the mayor of Kiev, everybody's calling Zelensky out as being a cokehead, just like Biden, just like Hunter. And we are being run by cokeheads into the dirt. And I'm just telling you, you can't do this anymore. I'm going to have this other story that touched me. And I go like that. I'm not guided by anybody except my own intuitions and what I think. We have video evidence of some young Israeli snipers killing a Palestinian grandma walking on a road that was designated as a safe road with her grandchildren. We can say, and if you say they started it, get off my channel. You sound like a kindergartner. My point is that we do not need to allocate our bombs to go killing other people, period. It's not about who started it. We need to be the adults in this situation and say we cannot participate in killing people when we have citizens that have relatives on both sides. Or citizens. Now, I just showed you how we got at least 1 million Yemen citizens here, and we're blowing up their families today. We can't do that. We're activating Trojan horses in our own country, and we are the guilty party. If we keep this up, we will be destroyed from the inside out. And it's at our own doing. So we have to change what we're doing. And the IDF and Hezbollah, let them go at it, but hate breeds hate, and I'd rather that hate stays over there. When I see the fact that Bernie Sanders gets on, you guys say, well, he's a communist and a socialist. Well, hey, you know what? He's the only senator that exposed the fact that all of those munitions that Israel just used came from us. To me, that's important. I don't really care what you say, and I'd rather us keep those in case we needed to fight somebody here. But to give everything away, all you're doing is giving all of our tax-paid money to another country for no reason at all except to perpetuate a phony administration with World War III. That's all this is. And we're watching a government just go out of control, doing everything they can to deviate from an impeachment. And their way of doing it is just so-heartedly dividing us, whether it's sexuality, the transgender America, whether it's our open borders. And by doing this, they're going to make us look at where every white person's looking at every Mexican person like they're illegal, every black person like they're from Africa. And you know what? Every Chinese person like they're from China. And the culprit that did all this is Jackwagon Joe. No kidding. And divided will fall. And that's something he knows better than anybody. So I'm glad that Texas is taking its stuff back, but we need to think about closing the door actually to the citizens of Yemen. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but we can't keep doors open to countries that were blowing up. That's just my spin on it. So I'm going to let you hear how it sounds and understand that they're already here by the millions. And their family members are contacting them because this is the way it sounds over there, okay? And so if you don't know how it sounds, you're about to hear it. And we have, look, that's 1 million people. 1 million people. For those of you that don't know, they just said we're going to kill all of the Jews and death to America too. Now, I would say, oh, all those people are crazy. But then again, we just blew them up 60 times last night. Hate breeds hate. Love breeds love. This is a religious war no matter how you look at it. And we are not on the right side of it. We're the funding party, and we're on both sides of it. We've got to stop this. Now, again, Lloyd Austin has proven that he is an affirmative action hire and that Joe Biden is in charge. Okay? And I want you to take a look at all these people and understand that we are creating enemies every single day. And you know what? All this smells to me is a third term. And you're like, what do you mean a third term, Chris? And I'm like, it smells to me like a third term straight out of the book of Kenya. He wasn't just a homo from Honolulu. No, ma'am, no, sir. He's a tranny from Kenya. And everybody over there, they know what that Manchurian candidate's about. In fact, we'll just let him tell you. Here we go. Obama, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Wish like you had a third term. And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, it smells to me like that's what's going on today. Well, if you want the truth, you discovered the truth. Look for me, Major News Network, on Roku, free on all devices. And by the way, it's not just Paul Harvey and the other show. If you actually click on the logo, there's a 12-hour show, and I'm bringing the government down. And I'd like to thank Elon Musk and Starlink and all the Filipinos out there that are now on board. God bless each and every one of you. Sending love to your families, and I'll see you soon.